Hello, everybody. Welcome to another match of Littlewargames. This is Neagat, and I am bringing you a match played by a guest player. I believe he has an account. He has a name on Littlewargames, but I forgot what it was at the moment. And then I have myself playing playing with the blue pieces in the bottom right. We're both playing on Ravaged, as you can tell. It's pretty common map to be playing on. Both of us, what are both of us going for? Let's go ahead and speed it up so that, oh, his name is Bijo. Bijo. Bigo. I'll just call him Bigo. No, if it was Bigo, it'd be a G. So his name's Bijo. Playing Bijo here. Um, I'm going for a barracks opening. He's going for a mech opening, so he's getting his workshop. I'm still learning some of the matchups, so I don't know all of the matchup knowledge between Rax and between Mech, but as far as I can tell, I think the matchup's pretty good for Mech and for Rax. Like, both of them have things that they want to do against each other, and I think it's hard to tell. I think it's balanced. Like, in my mind, I think Mech is always, like, overpowered because of the repair rate. But I mean, I think it takes good players with good skill to know what's going on. So Bijo, he's kind of using his skirt worker while it's idle to kind of just scout around, see what's going on, and then he builds his expansion. At the same time, I'm also building my expansion. He's going for a Gatling gun. So he's just producing units, and I'm also producing a raider and sending it across the map. Other than that, we're both producing workers. So as far as what the Raider versus the Gatling gun does early on in the game, I believe we'll see a case of what happens. So my Raider is just going to get stuck in, do some damage to this Gatling gun. So far I'm doing a lot of damage here, and then I get to attack it, right? And I get to kill it. And then now I get to do some worker damage as well. I do know this build just a little bit. I know Rhinus used to play it a lot when he kinda wrecked us like what 2 years ago, maybe a year ago. Like he wrecked me a bunch with this opening going like what 3 Gatling guns and then you go into catapult production. I'm also getting another raider, and basically what I'm seeing now is now that I've expanded, I'm just going to go into continuous raider production. The idea behind the continuous raider production is I want to continue to pick off some of these Gatling guns that'll come out, and I want to just basically make sure that he's not able to do a push around like the 5 or 6 minute mark. So now he's got 2 Gatling guns. He's able to push me off, but I'm just gonna keep producing raiders. I'm gonna produce raiders consistently. I'm just gonna keep on the raider. My opponent Bijo, he starts getting catapults, so he's got his 2 Gatling guns. He's feeling safe. I've got my raider. I'm able to scout what's going on, kind of see how he's doing. I see, he hasn't gotten his third expansion. Like, it'd be pretty greedy to get a third expansion at this point, but just wanted to make sure he wasn't doing anything too greedy. Basically retreated this raider from earlier. That was the raider that we saw kill that one um, Gatling gun earlier. And basically I sent him home to kind of heal up because raiders can heal over time, which is really nice. And then basically now that I see that I have so much like map presence, I kind of see my opponent doesn't really have any um, catapults at this moment. At least I haven't seen any catapults at this moment. I decided I'm going to go ahead and get a third base. I'm really comfortable with where I am on the board here, where I am on the map. And if he does move out, I know I'll be able to pick up enough units with raiders to kind of avoid being all in. Um, but the Raiders really good against MECH, as far as I can tell, because MECH has this really nice ability of using these catapults from a long distance away. And for me, I'm using these Raiders to just get up close. So I basically just took two Gatling guns out for free. I think I can get more, and so that's why I blink in with these Raiders. But that was a little greedy by me. I definitely should have just taken the two Gatlings and ran, because that would have avoided any attack timing my opponent would have had, and then it would have also kept my Raiders safe and alive. Earlier, we did see my opponent build a bird, which I thought was really good of him, being able to kind of scout and see what the what the map looks like for him, and that might actually trigger him to maybe move out if he sees I'm in bases, which I think he tries to do at this point. I do also start going for this advanced workshop, so um, I'm thinking about teching up. I'm thinking about getting more Raiders because I know Raiders are good in this matchup. Like we just saw, my Raiders were able to jump on the Gatling guns, do a lot of damage. I think my opponent may have misclicked the E button and started doing Fortress here. So yeah, Bijo doing a great job with this bird, basically scouting the map, making sure I'm not taking like proxied bases, making sure that I'm kind of staying safe. So at this point, I realize I'm only on two barracks. My opponent does have a lot of army. Like, he's probably been producing a lot of army. And he could be all in me at this point, now that he knows I'm on a third base. And so I've basically been on Raider production constantly. I haven't stopped producing Raiders. And now I'm also getting a Mage Guild because I feel like I think, I could be wrong, but I think the main composition Rex wants to have at the end of the game against Mech is a whole bunch of Raiders and a whole bunch of mages, and I'm trying to like build accordingly. So I'm just doing a little bit of harassment. I'm scouting that my opponent's expanded, so I'm much less worried about an all-in at this point. In fact, I probably could have just done a ton more damage with those Raiders, but like I'm trying to say, I'm learning my lesson of not overcommitting with my Raiders, and by keeping them alive, I'm able to use them in the future for further harassment later on, if I decide I want to go for these boys. Something interesting my opponent is doing is he was able to scout the advanced workshop earlier, and he does get these two watchtowers. Now, these watchtowers are interesting because they don't really protect anything. They don't really protect your workers. They just protect this area of the map. And if I were to get any units past this area of the map, I would basically be able to do a lot of damage. So very curious about what he does from that point. I'm trying to get as much production as possible because I know whenever I've played up against Rax, or whenever I've had the matchup of playing against Rax, I typically get destroyed because of how efficient, or how efficient mech can be, rather, not Rax, mech. So I'm trying to do a little bit of like a little bit of a raid. I'm trying to drop into space. My opponent is also getting an advanced workshop of his own, and I'm also expanding. So I think at one point I had like 700 minerals or 700 gold, and that's just because I was microing so much, doing so much stuff. So my opponent already does some economical damage to himself because he's already pulled his workers, and unless he's gotten Gatling guns, at this point in the matchup, he doesn't have any or much anti-air. Like he might have an archer, he might have some watchtowers, but not very much at all. So basically, I decide I'm going to drop into his second base. I'm also going to start, macroing at home and start building some mages, make sure I get unsupply blocked. I basically just do a lot of raiding, do a lot of just damage. I think I took out two catapults, and then I move my raiders over here just to see if he has another base. This airship also kind of acts as like a pseudo bird. I'm able to see what's going on in his second base. I'm able to like scout what's in his main base, and then in the future I'll be able to move it to his third base and also see if he's got an expansion, which I also look over here to see if he's got an expansion or not. So basically, in my head, my game plan is going as well as it could be. I'm going Raiders, I have a bunch of raiders. I'm going mages, starting to get some mages. I'm building my mage count. In fact, I'm producing 3 mages at a time. And then I'm going to start getting some upgrades. And so my goal with that is to get raiders and mages, and my opponent is going mech, so I'll be able to kind of jump on him and do a lot of damage. I'm already getting my attack upgrade, and Bojo is starting to use his bird to good effect here, which is really nice. I'm exploring how to use mages more, especially in the early game. So I've got 4 mages loaded up in this thing here, and I basically want to fireball the worker line. Typically, when you fireball, you kind of want to do it right where the mineral patch, where the gold is, so that you can get most of the workers, which is good. So didn't lose anything. He lost. Let's see how many workers he just lost. So he lost around 11 workers total this whole game, and which is really great for me because I know I'm economically ahead, and I'm able to continue that advantage. I get another expansion even while my opponent is basically not being able to expand very much. So something I would say for my opponent is I've noticed. Actually, no, this is for me. Something I would say for me is I definitely need to make sure I'm spending all of my money whenever I can. I've got 1,000 gold in the bank, and I just spent like 600 just in that moment. But sometimes money accumulates, especially when you're microing, like you're microing raiders, you're microing your airships and such. So, ooh, I wonder if I just lost a bunch of units with that. Potentially. I think I may have just lost four mages with that airship going down. That's a pretty big deal, actually. Losing 4 mages, especially when you're trying to build your mage count. Very big deal. Hopefully I fix my workers. Typically, the less workers you have mining a base, the more efficient they are. At least that's how it is in this game. And so, hopefully I try to go for some more expands, especially as I'm floating like almost 1,000 resources at this point. So literally over 1,000 resources. So yeah, at this point, basically just got mages going for me. I'm fixing my economy. I've got this expansion going. I'm moving my workers so that they can be at places where there are like bases that need to be mined, right? And so that's the goal I have for my. At the same time, I see my opponent hasn't expanded. I've got my units here as well, so I can definitely see that they're not expanding. I do like what Bojo is doing here with his airships. He's kind of moving his airships forward so that his catapults can fire at my raiders here, and the catapults can shoot further than they can see. So they need units like the airship to kind of spot what's going on. It is sad, wasn't microing my Raiders very well there, um, so it is kind of sad to see that I lost them like that. But at this point, I'm pretty confident in my ability to kind of take control of this match. My idea is I've got more bases than my opponent. Mages are really good against like mech balls, especially if you don't have the airships to kind of lift all the units, and I'm getting my upgrades. I'm even getting more forges to see if I can get uh, more upgrades going at the same time. And I basically decided I'm gonna press into my opponent. I'm gonna see if how he responds to this. I'm gonna try to see how he's doing. And basically, all I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to just attack into my opponent and see what the response is. See how tough he is. See if I can get a lot of damage. And I'm trying to take cost efficient trades too, especially since I have so much money. And I think at this point have a ton of production going. In fact, let's see if I can look at my buildings. Right now I have 6 barracks. I think I should get more than 6 barracks at some point though. Hopefully I don't know. That's up to whatever I did in that moment, I guess. But more production when you're up this much gold is really good for you, I'd say. So again, I'm able to see what how my opponent is doing. Again, I'm focusing kind of on my half of the map. I'm trying to expand. I'm getting these expansions going, and yes, now I do start to get more production going, which is really good. Really good. Highly recommend that you get more production, especially when you're sitting on a bunch of gold. I'm getting more raiders, which I'm really happy about. Raiders are like the buffer unit. They kind of like are like the soldier in this composition to the archer ball. Like when Rax plays with what archers and soldiers. So these raiders are able to go up close to the mech ball and like force the mech to attack the raiders, and the mages are able to like get the damage, which is really strong. So my raiders doing a really good job of just going in. I did take a pretty expensive fight, but it was pretty cost effective for myself, I'd say. So I'm pretty happy with how that went. If I could give my opponent some advice as well, at this moment he's like floating 2,000 resources. He definitely should be spending so that those resources could be on the map. And like for myself, I'm floating a lot of resources too, but I try never to go like above 500 if possible, like 1,000 if possible, you know, like, and that's what all these production buildings are for, really. It's so that if I do start floating like a bunch of money, I can just start. I can press, for me, I put all my production on the 2 key. I just press 2, and then I just produce a bunch of units. And currently I believe my units are rallied over here, so hopefully I fix my macro at some point. My goal is to basically make sure my opponent doesn't get a third or a fourth base, really, and that's like all I really need. Um, if my opponent doesn't get a fourth base, I'll pretty much be happy with that. Um, because I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bases, and so if I keep my opponent on 3, I'll pretty much have more than twice his income. At the moment, I have 1,000 more income coming in than he does, but obviously, if you're ahead, you try to get more ahead, right? So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm also trying to target these workers, right? So I have some mages coming in, and I'm trying to see if I can get these to fireball down. So we'll see if that works. Again, I think at this point I have these barracks on my hotkey, on my 2 hotkey, so, and then I've rallied my units further up so that I'm able to do a lot of damage. And now I'm basically saying here, I'm committing to making sure you don't have this base anymore, and I'm gonna keep these units here. Even if I take like an inefficient trade, I'm committing these units to like killing your stuff here. And so, obviously I'm microing over here. I'm making sure that I don't lose the bigger army, even though I'm using these archers to take out these workers here, which is actually super nice. I'm really happy I was able to take out the workers there. But you can kind of notice I never like fully commit to killing my opponent. I basically am fully committed to like taking out one of his bases, just one of his bases. That way he's on the back end, and I'm able to continue to like continue to just be ahead. Really, honestly enough, I get uh, 4 upgrade units or 4 forges. That way I can start upgrading my barrack units even quicker. Um, I want to mention this. Oh wait, I don't think this is the moment where this happens, but yeah, basically, I'm seeing these watchtowers. I'm seeing he has um, catapult units, and I'm basically thinking like, okay, how much can I get from this? I should probably retreat. And then I see my opponent bring his workers like here, and that's just an opportunity you cannot miss. If your opponent brings out his workers in a line like this for your mages to basically murder, like basically just kill, then you take that opportunity and you absolutely destroy his economy. So I was really happy with that. And then, again, he brings out his workers in front of my mages. This is the moment where he gets caught with this slow field and he loses 2 catapults in this slow field. He says, nice, good job. Both of us were floating like 2,000 gold at this point. I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about how much gold I'm floating at the moment, but I'm really happy with my economy. In fact, I'm getting even more production. I'm starting to get some workshops so I can get some catapults with this army. Oh, I'm not happy about the fight I took here either. But you know, if you're really interested in my economy, you can see that I'm producing 11 mages at a time, which I'm very happy about my economy right at the moment. And you know, if I were my opponent, I would look for more ways to spend some of this gold. I'd probably, instead of getting these watchtowers, I would probably look for like getting more workshops, because you can see my opponent has like 2 or 3 units queued up in his workshops. Um, Whereas he really could just get some more workshops, and that way he'll have more army on the map more readily. I hope I get more raiders soon. That would be really helpful, because you don't just want to have just mages, because if your opponent goes like mass Gatling gun, or somehow like goes into wolves somehow, like maybe he has like 5, 7, 8 wolf dens back here, just starts producing wolves, then those wolves could like surround my mages, and fireballs wouldn't be very effective, and so he would have every opportunity to do well in that case. I basically see that my opponent has kind of expanded. Like my idea with this kind of movement here is to see if my opponent has expanded, and now I do this mage drop just to kind of kill some workers, and make sure he doesn't have this base as well. So as you can see, like every time I'm fighting my opponent, it's basically like make sure you don't have this base, and then I'm kind of retreating, because mages are only as strong as their fireballs, really. Like mages accumulate energy and then they spend their energy, and I believe each fireball is either 50 or like 45 energy, and so you can quickly run out of energy, and then you can kind of just have like these really like weak units that kind of like do a little bit of range damage, but they're not as good as like say the archer. And so as you can see, I'm basically like moving around the map, kind of like seeing how much damage can I do, how much pressure can I give to my opponent, how much how many bases can I kind of like remove from him, is essentially the idea. So the mages that were just over here a couple seconds ago are now right over here on this side of the map, trying to do good work, trying to make sure my opponent doesn't expand too much, you know. At this point, I've been, you know, supply capped. I've reached 150 supply. I can't go above 150 in this game, so I've reached my cap, and so I think I'm trying to just look for ideas for how to spend some of this money. I am getting a bunch of archers now, because I want some units that'll be able to put some like consistent damage from this point. I also think I've maxed on upgrades at this point, and I'm starting to get mechanical upgrades, because I'm adding these catapults to my army composition. Oh, something I want to point out, because I was thinking about this in the game as well, actually, is I made sure not to use fireballs on these workers, because I could tell that these archers and these catapults would be strong enough to basically like deal with what's going on. And so I was thinking, all right, I should just let my mages accumulate energy, so that if his army, wherever it might be, starts to attack me, I'll be okay. See, he puts a bunch of watchtowers over here. This is like a lot of watchtowers. I'd much rather him have like this money in army, instead of just like in watchtowers that don't move around and can't always protect stuff. So it's really good with it's like not the best option. Oh wait, no, this is my watchtowers. Ah, okay. That's funny. That made me laugh there. Maybe I shouldn't have put these watchtowers, but I was maxed, and so putting watchtowers actually would have probably been a good thing to do at this point. That way I could kind of have like a stronghold to like press my opponent off of his bases. So anyways, I thought this was a super fun game. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the idea of mages and raiders together against mech, and then also being able to like incorporate like catapults and like archers into the mix for like consistent damage. It might not be the best against like top level players, like some of the best players that play this game. But I thought it was pretty good in this matchup, specifically against Mech, and so um, I'm just happy I was able to play this game. It was super fun and super happy I got to play it. So hope you guys enjoyed it. If you liked it, leave a like. If you had any comments, any statements you want to make about this, maybe this composition or maybe some of my play, definitely leave something in the comments. Would definitely appreciate that insight. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.